Hey, what's up? This is MJ100K. Today I want to give you 3 great tips that will help you when you are picking out a good used car. But first, the theme song. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wrenches in my top drawer of my Snap-on box. I think I'm missing. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pliers in my bottom drawer of my Snap-on box. Get ready to fix some cars. Get ready to fix. Let's go! Alright, I want to give a special shout out to my friend Dom, who made the beat to my Mechanic remix of 21 Savage's Bank Account. And my Mechanic remix parody is called Wrenches in My Top Drawer. And my friend Dom made the beat for it. So thank you very much, Dom. His link is in the description to his YouTube page if you want to get in contact with him about making a beat for you. He'll make a beat for your YouTube page or for whatever reason you want it, and he will make it awesome, so hit him up. So my first tip is don't just walk onto a used car lot or a new car lot and just randomly start looking for a car. You have to do your research first. So that means you want to pick out the type of car that you want before you go to the lot. If you are relying on the salesman to help you, I mean, they're looking out for their best interest. They're looking out for the dealer's best interest. You have to look out for your own best interest, and you're going to do that by picking out the car that you want first. For example, the last time I was looking for a car, I wanted a ProMaster between the years of 2019 to 2020, the 1500 version with the regular size roof. So I started looking online. You want to look Car Gurus, Auto Trader, wherever. Look around in your area to see who has that vehicle, what prices they're offering for it, and you could get some pictures of what kind of condition they're in. So when you go to the lot, the salesman becomes irrelevant, and you just say, hey, I saw this vehicle. I'd like to see this vehicle, please. And that's it. And one great tip for helping you to find a great used car is the same thing I use. This Consumer Report used car guide. It comes out once a year, and it's out right now. It's February 2021. So definitely go buy one. Now, they're not sponsoring me. There's no links, but I truly and honestly believe that this is a great magazine. When I was an engineer at Toyota, they had mentioned a couple problems on a vehicle that we were working through at that very time. So they are accurate, because I remember I saw it, I was like, wow, a guy on my team anyway, he was working on that exact problem. So they're pretty accurate. And you know how I know they're pretty truthful? They don't have every single vehicle's reliability stats in there. Like some of them, they'll be blank, not a lot, but a few of them. And that's showing me they're not just making up numbers out of nowhere. So it's great that they'll say, look, we don't know about this car, but we know a lot about this car. And 95% of cars are going to be in this magazine. They also have a lot of good articles about the used car buying process. So definitely get one of these. And just to tell you, I was looking for one of these online before I saw it, and they sell them for like 30, 40, 50 bucks because they're only out for a small amount of time, and a lot of people want it. So while it's on the newsstand, it's like 12 bucks right now. Go ahead and get one, and you'll have one, and it'll be accurate for, a few years. It'll definitely help you. So that's tip number 1. Definitely make sure to get your car picked out before you go to the dealership lot. Tip number 2 was also an article that's in this very magazine that I also knew about in the past, and I'm going to share this secret with you. Tip number 2, get your financing in order before you go to pick out a used car. If you rely on the dealership to help to find your financing, you're putting yourself in a terrible position, and here's why. What they're usually going to do is ask, how much do you want to pay per month? And if you tell them that, they are going to use that information a lot of times against you. Let me give you an example. If you say, I want to pay $300 a month, right? They take your information, they run your credit, they find you an interest rate for, like, let's say 6%, because you got maybe pretty good credit or whatever. So at 6%, your payment would be $270 a month. but you said you wanted to pay $300 a month. So what they're going to do is they're going to say, oh, let's add a percent to this interest rate. Now they got you at 7%, and now you're at $300 a month. But what happened is they get to keep at least all or part of that interest rate. They call it interest rate bumping. So never, never, never let them do your financing. Number two, do not tell them what you want to pay per month. You're going to get your financing from your bank or credit union or wherever. You have that all in line before you go to the dealership lot. Like when I bought my Mustang, I had my financing through my bank. They gave me a piece of paper with information on how the dealer will get paid and reimbursed. I give that piece of paper to the dealership. They called a number at my bank. They set up the wire transfer. I'm already approved. So I'm not going through the dealership. If you go through the dealership, you run the risk of having your monthly payment manipulated and paying more than you would have had to pay without doing that. These interest rate bumps could cost you $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 over the life of the loan. So do not let them do that. If you're going to pay cash, bring your cash. If you're going to pay with financing, get your financing before you go to the lot. That is very serious. My third tip is, it may be one of the best tips. You must have an actual mechanic go with you to help you to inspect this car for you before you buy it. I cannot tell you how many times I was working as a mechanic when people would bring me a used car they just bought to get inspected, and I would find so many things wrong. Sometimes they were just blatant rip-offs. For example, one time I was trying to find somebody's OBD2 port to plug my scanner in. The people, they disconnected it from where it was mounted in the dash, and they tucked it up way back underneath the dashboard and taped it around so you couldn't even plug a scanner in. You know why they did that? Because they took the cluster out, they turned it around. There's a bulb that lights up that check engine light. When your check engine light's on, in most vehicles, maybe not all new ones, but most of them, there's a little light bulb that you screw in there. And that's what actually causes that check engine light to come on. So when they went and bought the car, they said, oh, wow, no lights, this is good. But the light was on, there were codes in there were problems with the car, and the people that sold them this car blatantly tried to rip them off. If you had taken a good mechanic like myself, when I used to do these used cars inspections for people, I'll bring my scanner. I'll bring my scanner and find the trouble codes. I bring my charging system tester. I take it on a long test drive. I put it on a lift. On a lift, do not buy a car unless you could put it on the lift and have a mechanic look at it, because sometimes there is so much nonsense under there, it's ridiculous. When I was looking for my Silverado, they were one place, they had the bumper, it had been in an accident, and they just put like regular bolts in there and had it just cocked in there some old terrible type of way. I would have never noticed that unless I was able to put the vehicle on a lift. So when I go to pick out my used car, I say, if it doesn't go on the lift and I don't get to look under it, I'm not buying it. And that's it. Walk right off the lot. You have to get the car inspected first. Pay an actual mechanic $150 $200 to go with you for a day and look at 3 or 4 used cars, and then decide based on those things which one you're going to buy. It's going to be a lot cheaper to pay a mechanic to go with you than it would be to get a vehicle and it needs a whole bunch of repairs as soon as you buy it. And don't think, oh, it's coming with a warranty. It's coming with a warranty. Let me tell you something about warranties. They're usually not worth anything. They're usually terrible, because maybe at new car dealerships, sometimes they're okay. They're not quite as slimy as used car dealerships. But what used car dealerships will do is a lot of times they'll be in cahoots with the mechanic that they will send you to get the warranty repair done. So that mechanic is going to do the best that they can to make this repair as cheap as possible, which means I've even seen once where, like, let's say if they needed an alternator, the charging system wasn't charging, they'll go into the junkyard and get an alternator and throw that in there. Now, is that junkyard alternator going to last a long time? Oh, who knows? It might last several years. It might last several days. I mean, this is from the junkyard. Who knows? So what they'll do sometimes, they'll go to the junkyard, they'll clean it off, they'll spray paint it silver so that it looks new, right? But it's not. Because you know how I could tell it wasn't new? Because the coils inside, the copper colored, they're all silver colored, and I could see the overspray all over the pulley. So, don't be a victim. Get your car checked out first. Now, just because a mechanic checks out your car, that doesn't 100% mean there's never going to be a problem with that car. I mean, they could look at it and it's fine right now, but in a few months something could go bad. We're only testing stuff statically, meaning right now. For example, if I was to test a car's fuel pressure, I could hook up my tester and see, the fuel pressure is within spec, it's good, right? But I'm not going to take the fuel pump apart and look for little tiny signs of damage and say, maybe in 6 months this fuel pump will go bad. I'm testing it right now. I mean, for example, if you went to a doctor and you got they check your heart rhythms or your heart rate, and your heart rate's fine now, that doesn't mean that in 3 or 4 months you could have a heart attack. I mean, you still could. You could have a defect that's in your heart from birth, or just is a rapid onset of a problem that has been building up for years. So I say mechanics will probably be able to catch 95% of stuff, but nothing's 100% with new cars or used cars. So you cross your fingers, but make sure you dot all your I's, cross all your T's, pick your car out first. Number 2, have your financing done before you go to the lot. Number 3, bring an actual mechanic with you. And just for ladies out there, sometimes you assume that because it's a guy that's in your family that is a substitute for an actual mechanic because he's done, I saw him doing brakes and, he knows more than me. Well, just because he knows more than you doesn't mean he knows enough to inspect a car. I mean, even my friend the other day, he swapped an engine out of cars, right? But I had to explain to him, what an actual wheel alignment is. And, if he just went to go to look at a used car, he's not going to know enough to actually be able to inspect it all the way. I've inspected thousands of cars and driven thousands of cars. So get a guy like me to go help you out, and you'll be more than likely 9 out of 10 times you'll be fine. So anyway, thank you for tuning in and have a good one.